Alright, this is going to be a shorter video than usual, and it's about a robot other than Moray this time. So, this is Kickserve. I've never actually done a full video on this, but I mentioned it briefly in my Motorama recap. So basically, this is a robot that I designed and built for my dad for Christmas. He had some input on various different parts and attachments and things, and he competed with it at Motorama this year. And it didn't do particularly well because he was getting used to driving it in a competition scenario. And the drive system was pretty bad with how the ESCs were soldered to the motors. So it hasn't competed after that. But my dad's not going to be able to make it to the next event. So I'm going to take both Moray and Kickserve. So I've made a few modifications to improve both robots for that event. Here's Moray. I'm still in the progress of making it. I'm just waiting for the carbon fiber parts to arrive. So I should be able to do a whole video on that before I compete. But you can see it's a lot longer and there's different attachments and things. But this video is going to be focused on Kickserve. So it's a 1 pound lifter robot. So this is just a TPU lifter arm and it's attached directly to the servo. And it has a decent amount of power to it. I'll test it later in the video, but it can lift 1 pound very easily. So what I'm going to do is test out these new attachments that I made. These are designed to fight horizontal spinners. So we have these little kind of baleen type bits here where hopefully if a blade were to hit these, it would rip through them, but it wouldn't really hit anything else. And then there's just a whole lot of TPU to get through here. And at the last event, Kickserve was pretty underweight. So I'm going to weigh it right now and see what it's at the moment. Because last time there was a lot of weight to work with. And I have a lot of weight for different attachments. So you can see this is just without the battery, which is about an ounce. So even with everything together, it's still pretty underweight. So that's cool. I have a lot of room for different attachments and things. So what I'm going to do now is just charge the battery and plug it in, and then we can see it in action. Alright, so the battery's charging right now, and while that charges, I'm going to try out some of this. So this is Gription branded tape, so it's very rubbery, and it should give a lot of traction. So what I'm going to do is just cut some strips and attach them to Kickserve's wheels, which I also painted like tennis balls for this event. But yeah, I'm just going to see how the traction is with this tape, so hopefully it'll drive better. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention is that the drive system was improved by adding these JST connectors. So at the previous event, Motorama, the ESC wires were soldered directly to the motor leads and they would come off really easily. So what I did is bought these JST connectors and soldered one to the ESC and then one to the motor. So it makes repairs a lot easier because you can just pop the connector off and swap them out. And also it makes them a lot more durable because the solder joints are a lot better because the wires are thicker and they come straight out and aren't bending as much because there's more slack. So this should make the drive a lot more durable and make Kickserve a lot better. Alright, so the battery's charged, and a new thing for this design is that this little compartment here where I printed this new fork and everything, the battery can kind of slot in there to save some space for the other components because Kickserve's electronics are very tightly packed in here. And for this test, I'm going to be using the kind of all-purposes lifting arm. There's also this tennis racket one, which I think I'd use more against horizontals. And then the one that was used at Motorama, which is this sort of claw lifter, where the idea is maybe it could kind of grab onto opponents and lift them up like that. But I'm just going to be using this one for the test. Alright, so the robot's on, and we're going to test it on an old Moray chassis, a tennis ball, and then a 1 pound weight. So yeah, it has no problem lifting a 1 pound object up, and it can also use the lifter to clamp down like that because it has two little tiny forks in the front. And the lifter can touch the floor too, so if it gets high centered on an object, it should be able to wiggle itself free.